Today I'm gonna be talking about retirement accounts. So, one of the main things that I noticed with retirement accounts is a lot of times minorities or our people, we tend to look over the retirement accounts, which I know that that's a main piece to the puzzle with creating our wealth, our generational wealth for ourselves and our families. And one of the things that I know that we all tend to do is when we get jobs, let's say if it's with Walmart, Amazon, UPS, FedEx, sometimes we be so focused on hurrying up and getting hired and getting to work so we can make our checks, our training checks and our first couple of paychecks so we can start really getting what we think is paid, which it is to a certain extent. You know that like when I was coming up, my mom used to tell me, yeah man, there's a lot of kids that's like younger, wealthy kids and everything, wealthy families. All they do is sit on the computer and they make money out the computer. And I was like, dang man, I want to be one of them kids one day. Like I really just did working thing. It was just something in my mind and my body just told me that working thing just wasn't for me. So I did work a couple of jobs, but even when I was working them jobs, it was like it was tough. It's like, man, I just know this is not for me. I know it's something better that I can do without physically killing myself every day to gain financial freedom, which in our reality, I wasn't gaining no financial freedom. I was just killing my body, wearing my body down, because even when I was at these workplaces, I wasn't knowledgeable enough to pressure my employees on helping me set up my 401k plan, or like I didn't know how to go about it at these time frames because I was just getting me some of my first jobs. So yeah, I was 12. I think my mom had first became knowledgeable on it when she was working for the IRAs, and somebody was telling her about it. So she had all of her plans set up and everything through the Internal Revenue Service. And with that, when she started learning more, she started to come to me and teach me more. So she had a account set up at this time frame, and it was a SureBuilder account. It was through Capital One. And what I used to do is I always watch her because she used to have me come to the computer. I was like, man, what is it? I said, man, you be making money on that? She's like, yeah, man, these are stocks. She's like, I got my money invested in these companies. At that time, it was like Ford. This is when Ford was an okay company. Dow, like the ETF, Dow Jones ETF, and I think the Standard & Poor's ETF. So I used to come on there and I was looking and I was like, man, she used to always make money. I was wondering how, like, even like when some of these times was hard, like how she would be able to come up with these extra funds. And some of these extra funds would be coming from the stock market. So she had a nice amount of her money invested into these ETFs and a few individual stocks. And she will be getting a return every 3 months from these companies, and she will be able to, go do different things like, hey, maybe pay her car note or maybe buy some games and everything, stuff like that. So that was something that was real dope. And I was like, dang, I want to do something like that. So what happened is I used to just bug and pressure. I was like, man, I want to start trading. Can you set me up an account, or can I use your account? At that time, I was too young to be trading. or trading on my own. So what she done is she had set, I think, a custodial account at this time up for me. Yeah, she set up a custodial account. And in that custodial account, she watched over it. So I was able to put a little money up in there. She helped me put like my first amount of money into my custodial account, and like I didn't know what was going on. I was just looking at the screen like, man, what man, how do I work this? How do I find the stocks? I didn't know nothing. Like it was just a white screen with a search bar and a bunch of words on there. So she was like, man, you just gotta type it in the screen. She was still learning, so we knew just about as much as the same thing. So she was like, you gotta type in the screen for the company that you own and in the search bar. When you find the company, you can buy them stocks. And I tried to do that. I started to figure it out just by typing around or just typing in letters and stuff like that. Just started seeing companies pull up and clicking on them. I was like, okay, well, this is how I buy it. And then I ran into a problem. One of the problems was I noticed that I ain't have enough money. So when I realized I didn't have enough money, I was like, dang, man, I really can't do nothing up on here. So I started looking for like stocks that I can afford, which are considered penny stocks. And I ended up buying like two weed companies at like I think the age of 12 or 13. I ended up buying like two cannabis companies, which ain't really the best of the best now that I look back up on them, but it was just good to learn how to trade stocks or buy shares or securities. It all means the same thing. So that was dope. I got my first experience with buying my first share in a company. It was a marijuana company. So after that, I pretty much just kind of just was on the system, just looking around, just looking at things. Because I didn't really just too much just have the funds at that time. I think it's like 12 or it could have been 8, somewhere up in there. But so that was like just a little brief summary. I think later on, once I hit like 14, 15, then I started to look at it a little bit more. And I was still learning how to put funds on there, like trying to understand that whole process. But that was set up through Capital One. It was Share Builder, and I still have that account, but it's no longer through Share Builder. What happened is Share Builder ended up transferring all their accounts. Since Capital One no longer offers that investment service or them accounts, they end up transferring all their accounts to E-Trade. So now I have E-Trade account. So that was something that was dope. And I ended up liking E-Trade a whole lot better. It looked a little bit more complex than Share Builder, because I had worked on Share Builder for so long that I had got kind of the hang of the system and how to move around on it. So when I had transferred to E-Trade, everything just looked foreign, and that's normal. So now I guess I could just go and hop on into it. So for these newbie investors who started up investing on smaller brokerage firms like Robinhood and I guess startup companies that are getting ready to be major brokerage firms like Robinhood and Cash App. What happens is when you sign up for a Robinhood account, they give you a individual brokerage account. A lot of people don't know this, but they give you an individual brokerage account when you sign up. Robinhood does not have all types of accounts just yet because they are still growing. They are a growing platform. They will have other types of accounts later on, but not at this moment. So It starts you out with an individual brokerage account. With that brokerage account, it just says that, hey, you can invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, and you can trade options, futures, and Forex if you wanted to. The only thing is, it's not a tax advantage IRA. So it's not a tax advantage individual retirement account. IRA is just an IRA is an individual retirement account. An IRA and an individual brokerage account are completely different. One is tax advantaged, one is non-tax advantaged. The individual brokerage account usually is not tax advantaged. So what this says is, hey, you can invest in all these different things. You can invest in stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, bonds. You can even trade options, Forex, and futures if you wanted to. The only thing is, if you get to making a bunch of money or you get to making profits, capital gains, and you're taking your money out, you're responsible for taking care of all the money that's due to the IRS, and also taking care of all of your own tax documents. So they do offer them forms on their platform. They offer your account statements. They offer your IRS tax documents. So if you're savvy in that field, you can go on there, get your tax forms, and go to your tax advisor or your whoever it is that does your taxes. Even if you do your own taxes, you can just take that form and put all this stuff in these systems and handle your own taxes. Just make sure that you pay your 10% or more, or whatever the percentage is for them capital gains that you earn, or for that any money that you have invested into the stock market in companies and you took it out. But that's the main thing with Robinhood and Cash App. They do not tell us that you got to pay your taxes for any capital gains that you make, and you got to report this stuff when you're filing your taxes, or you're going to end up like Wesley Snipes. So, other than that, there's no age limit or any required distributions to deposit or withdraw from this account whenever you like. If somebody has a individual account, they have a lot of wealth built into it, or even if they just have $20-something into it, and they end up passing, what happens is, if they have a trust, any estate planning set up, that'll go on to their estate plan. So that's one of the main things for these people on Robinhood and Cash App, man. Just make sure you do your due diligence on an individual brokerage account when you're investing in the stock market on Cash App or on Robinhood. So the next account we're going to talk about is similar to the account that I had when I was younger. Only difference is you got to be a little bit older to have one of these. So a traditional IRA is, all of it is a retirement account. It's similar to your 401k or any other retirement accounts that your employer gives you. So the main thing about this traditional IRA is you have a limit on what you can contribute into this account. Now, it's two different limits depending on your age. So if you're, I think it's 18 all the way to, I guess, 58, you can contribute into there only $6,000 every tax filing year. which it is to a certain extent. But the main thing is, employers, what they do is they be so ready to get us to start working also. They be in the hurry to get us ready to go on and start packaging, stocking, or whatever the position may be for them, to help them build a company. They don't be, pressed about making sure that we sign up for these 401k accounts, these stock plans, and all these different things, unless you're just working with a really good job. But for the most, like the majority of minorities and less fortunate, we just be so blessed sometimes to start working that we lose focus on the bigger picture, the long-term game. And not just that we lose focus. A lot of times it be that, like, we don't be knowledgeable about certain things. Like, we have heard about retirement accounts, 401k plans and stuff, but we just don't know the ins and the outs to them, of how to really set them up and how to make sure that when we get a job, we already have everything set up from the get-go, or when that time frame comes, how to go about it, because we don't have anybody to guide us. Everything is like a crash course. So with that being said, these jobs don't care about us, man. They be ready for us to just go on and get to work. They can care less if we got on their 401k plan or their stock plan, because if we ain't on their stock plans, their 401k plans, that's just one less thing they got to worry about with us being a worker for them. So that's one less thing out of pocket they got to worry about. They ain't really got to worry about investing into us like that if we ain't pressing the issue about making sure we stay up on them with making sure that they put us in them 401k plans and stuff. And that's something that's major. Like, let's say, for instance, with Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and Walmart, some of the main jobs I see our people working for, we don't have them plans set up with. Like, for instance, I used to work at Walmart, Walmart and UPS, and with me working at both of them jobs, it was always a catch. Like, with Walmart, this was like one of my first jobs too. When I went to sign up for Walmart, I got hired, and one of the main things that I was just so concerned on was making sure I got my stock plan set up, because it was something that I was really interested, especially with me knowing about it earlier on in life. And basically how they explained it to me was like this. They was like, yeah, we offer a stock plan, but you probably want to go consult with somebody outside of Walmart, like a financial advisor or someone who deals with these things, to get your 401k plan set up. And when I was just watching all my surroundings while I was in this training, what is it? While I was in this training orientation, everybody else around me, they weren't really just too much focused on setting up their 401k plans. They were just so focused on starting a job, getting their checks, running their clock up, and they were just rushing us through it. They rushed us through it so fast to where by the time you really realize that, hey man, you could have had a stock plan set up, you could have had Walmart stocks and something to hold you over, even if you lost this job, something that you can really just tap into, you ain't working there no more, because they done went on and let you go. One of the things I like to say is Walmart is one of them jobs to where you can be a part-time worker working full-time hours. Cause ain't too many people at Walmart that I know working full-time and they stay in a nice position. It's one of the only jobs where you can work full-time hours and still be part-time. But I don't knock it. Walmart is a great job. One of the things I learned is whatever job I go to, if it's a publicly traded company, I got to get my stock plan set up with them, because while I'm working there, I'm looking at the long term. Long term is, I'm working here. I'm getting my check. I want my check to come as fast as possible. But if I got them pulling, like, let's say the majority of my money are going towards the stock plan, 70% or 80% of my income, and I'm living off 20 or 30, I ain't even thinking about what's going to my retirement account. Usually when a lot of them funds go into the retirement account, there's tax benefits for savers, people who invest in their retirement accounts from ages, if I'm correct, it's 18 all the way up to I think 44 or 45. And you can get like tax credits or deductions. But that's something that y'all may want to look on IRAs.gov and check out for more information, or consult with a tax advisor. But the main thing is that all the time that I was working at Walmart, if I would have had the knowledge to really just slow down and make sure that I got my account set up for my retirement account, and I was getting them Walmart stocks, if I would have had this set up, like, that would have been something that's major. I think at that time when I was working at Walmart shares were like $50 a share, and that was like, that's a lick. Now they like $130 a share. So then they pay dividends. So that's something that it's like I really could have been set right now. But that falls back on not having the proper guidance in those areas. And same thing with UPS. Same thing with FedEx. The only difference is, like, with UPS, they usually have catches. Like, it's always something to it. Where, like, let's say, like, with UPS, let's say if you what it is, they hire you like seasonal, and the catch is you don't get any benefits when you working seasonal, which that's cool, that's understandable. You gotta pray that you get hired after your seasonal position, to pray that everything goes well. Say everything goes well. Well, it's still like a probation period or something for when you really get hired on. When you really get hired on, I think it's like 30 to 90 days or 120 days before your benefits can start kicking in, or 6. It's somewhere up in there. But then once the benefits start kicking in, then you go on and start getting your UPS stocks and like something like that. That's major. UPS, and then they also take care of college too. One of my mistakes is not getting my retirement account set up at all them companies, because knowing what I know now, I could have just went to all them companies, got my stock plan set up. If anything happened at these companies, like I got laid off or anything happened, I could have just took my stock plans and rolled them over into my traditional IRA or Roth IRA or SEP IRA, which I get in it in just a little bit. But that's something that's major that I could have really been doing. I could have really maximized on it. And at the same time, when we getting our stock plan set up and we getting these company stocks like with Amazon, UPS, FedEx, and Walmart and Targets and all these stocks that we getting set up with the company stocks, it's not, we look at it just like it's just a retirement account. It's just something for savings. It's long term. When I'm about 40, 50 years, it's gonna take care of me and I'll be set, which that's true. But it's like, it's for now also. So the longer you work at these corporations and you're getting stocks, you're winning, because you're winning both ways. You're getting paid by a paycheck, and if they offer benefits like for insurance, health insurance and everything, that's a check. But then if you're getting these company stocks, that's major, because you're not just an employee for these companies. You're actually part owner in this company too also. So even though you're working for them, you still an owner in the company because you own stocks. And that's one of the main things these corporations don't, not our corporation, but a lot of these corporations that we work for in these inner cities, they don't help us workers or minorities with these type of things. They don't give us guidance. And you know, I understand that this is just a game. So with that being said, if you work in any of these jobs at a corp or publicly traded, always set up your retirement account. Make sure you own them, folks. Don't let these major corporations or these workers who are managers and everything just rush you through these processes to go on and get you on your job and everything. Make sure you head to HR or whoever you got to speak to get your plan set up, because that's what's going to make sure you straight for the long term. So it's going to make sure your kids straight. Let's say even if you had the majority of your income, you was making $40,000 and you had $20,000 set up and set aside in Walmart, UPS, or Amazon stocks, or whatever the company is. Yeah, you got all them stocks. One of the wrong things that I see that we do is when times get rough, we'll pull from them accounts. And from my experience on just seeing how other people move in different class levels, like wealthy, they will not take out their retirement accounts. They will lose everything before they withdraw from their retirement accounts. Now, they might take the interest, which that's one of the things that I see that we aren't just that knowledgeable on. Like, okay, if you got $20,000 set aside in your retirement account from working, you know, a couple years with Walmart, okay, well, if we were more knowledgeable on stocks and becoming more financially educated, we'll know that, okay, well, Walmart pay dividends every 3 months. So every 3 months, I'm gonna get a payment. So if I don't know, remember the exact math, but I think Walmart pays like a 50-cent dividend or something. But let's say you got $20,000 worth of Walmart stocks. You're getting a nice sized dividend every 3 quarters. Every 3 quarters is your payment. So now that you working these jobs, you know, we got to keep these things in mind. Like, okay, well, dang, I need to start flooding more money into my retirement account so I can get a bigger dividend from Walmart. So that way I won't have to actually pull from the principal or sell my stocks. Just in general, I can just pull from the interest. I ain't worried about the 10% penalty because I'm pulling from the interest. I still own the stocks. So that's a way we can play the game the safe route. Now let me go and switch it over to these accounts. You got, it's about, let me see, about 3 or 4 accounts that I use that we need to know about. You got a traditional IRA, you got a Roth IRA, you got a SEP IRA, and you have custodial IRAs. These 4 accounts are 4 main accounts that we really need to tap into for our generational wealth. So all of them are retirement accounts. All of them have tax benefits. Some of them are better than others. Traditional Roth IRA and the traditional IRAs, the SEPs, them are all retirement funds. The SEP IRA is for when you're a business owner, you're self-employed, or thinking about starting a business. That'll be the type of account that you probably would want to look into and do more research on. The traditional and the Roth IRAs are your retirement accounts. So both of these accounts are for when you reach the age 65 and a half, when you can pull money out of these accounts tax-free. But I would do more research on them to see the exact benefits of both of them. I like Roth IRAs. That's where I put all my money in, Roth accounts. I have a traditional IRA, and I also have a SEP IRA. My SEP IRAs are for my business. So since I'm a self-employee, I'm not like your corporate American employee. I don't have my benefits set up with the company for stocks, 401k plans, or insurance. I have to pretty much do that on my own. So that's where my SEP IRA comes into play. I invest my own money for my financial future. And same thing with my insurance. Everything is on self, so it's dependent on me if I'm gonna succeed in the future. And a lot of times we get carried away with being self-employed or business owners to where we be so caught up in taking care of a lot of the things that's important, like bills for the business expenses, and all these other different type of expenses that we spend just in general in life, to where we don't realize that we really need to be locking into our retirement accounts, our SEP IRAs and stuff like that, putting as much money as we can into these accounts, because if something happens like a recession or COVID, we can be prepared. We can be better prepared. And we won't be just dependent on governments to take care of us, because we're pretty much and already took care of ourselves as far as like retirement. Our IRA accounts are set up to retire us early if we wanted to, or just retire us at a standard time frame. The more you put in, the quicker you can retire. If you putting in, you can put in whatever you want in your retirement accounts. The only thing is, with traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs, there's a limit, a yearly limit. So every tax filing year, the max you can put in every year is about $6,000. Now, that's not the max that you can have in the account, but it's the max that you can contribute to that account. Now, if you're over the age of 65 and a half, I believe, then you can put in an extra $1,000. So it'll be $1,000 that you can contribute to these accounts. And the reason why they did that is so if you're late on starting retirement, you can catch up a whole lot quicker with an extra $1,000. So you can do that every year. So same thing with being self-employed. When you're self-employed, if you set up a SEP IRA, the max contributions that you can contribute to a SEP IRA is about $57,000 a year. So you can fund your SEP IRA with $57,000 a year. Then you can go look for great companies to invest in to make sure your money is always getting put to work for you. Yeah, that's one of them. Them are the limits on them accounts. So you got your SEP IRA. The max limit on the SEP IRA is about $57,000 a year that you can contribute to it, being a business owner, self-employee, or contractor. And you have your traditional IRA and your Roth IRAs, which them are your personal IRAs that you can set up outside of your job. Just because you have a 401k don't mean you cannot set up these accounts. You can set up these accounts even if you have a 401k set up. This is just an individual retirement account. So when your job's putting that money to work for you through your job, you can also take that after tax money that you receive in your check from your job and put it into your own retirement account also. That way you have a backup. So let's say if that 401k plan fail or doesn't do well, you ain't stressing about it because you really been over here investing into some great companies in your own individual retirement account, making things happen. So you really ain't just too much just worried about what the job got going on and stressing over the mutual funds that they got you invested in. Each job is different. There's a lot of jobs that offer great benefits. Just like I was doing research on Elon Musk, and Elon Musk was like, they were saying that he had they was complaining because they said he was making all this money. He made over hundreds of millions and everything while cutting his employees' paychecks to 10%. And his response was, yeah, he cut the paychecks to 10% due to the recessions and warehouses kind of slowing down and everything. But at the same time, he said, my employees are good because all my employees have Tesla stocks. And that was something that's major that you don't see a lot of these CEOs and founders speaking about often. Like, I like to see them type of things in a CEO, showing that basically he cares about his workers. Like, he thinks about his workers just about how he thinks of himself. Because the thing is, yeah, you're working for me, but you getting Tesla stock. So even if all else fails with the job and you leave and you got these Tesla stocks, well, Tesla stocks have been performing so well over the past couple of years to where, let's say if you lose your job today and you were working for Tesla and Tesla stocks were where they were valued at back in 2019 before the recession, and I think this was at like $2,200 or $1,000 something, and you have like $20,000 worth of Tesla stocks in your retirement account. Well, really on the code, you pretty much you good. You can take a withdrawal out with 10%. You can start your own business if you wanted to, or you can take that out and live off of it for a few months. That should be able to get you covered, like depending on what state you're in, but it should be able to hold you off until you're able to find a better form of employment. And that's something that's great. All them accounts they're great for tax benefits. There's one more account that I want to talk about that I didn't speak about too much, which is the custodial account. Now, the custodial account is dope. So what that is, that's an account for like minors. And the custodial is the one which would be like the adult that manages that account for the minor. And basically what happens is, this can be your children, this can be your nephew, cousin, nieces, it can be a foster child, it can be a family friend, a goddaughter, a godson. You can set up these accounts for your loved ones at a young age. Let's say they're in elementary. Well, you can get on these major brokerage accounts with these brokerage firms like TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab's, E-Trade, and Fidelity. You can get on these accounts, set you up a custodial account for, let's say, your children. And what happens is you can fund this account. And I can't really remember I don't think it's a max on how much you can contribute. But the only thing is, your contributions to this account, depending on how much is in the account, can affect the financial aid that your child will get for school. So you might want to look into it and see how will it affect it with the contributions. Like, let's say if it's $1 million up in there, then it may affect like tuition. But basically, you set up these accounts, and some of these custodial accounts, you can have all type of things in them. Like you can have real estate, real property in there, stocks, cash, bonds. You can trade options in there. You can do Forex in there. You can trade futures. You can do so many things in this account, and you'll be the one managing it for the child. And what happens is, let's say if you were contributing $1,000 a month into this account, and then you are also actively managing this account, investing this money for your loved one at a young age, putting it to work in great companies, and you were receiving dividends. Let's say you build it to a point to where the child was receiving like an extra $5,000 a year off of dividends. Well, that's great. So what happens is the account value may be, let's say, valued at $200,000, and with $5,000 worth of dividends that you receive yearly. So that thing will be coming on repeat every year. That child will be making money for the rest of their life. And by the time they turn 18 or it's up 18, also up to 25 years old, what'll happen is that account gets transferred over to them without any restrictions, and they can have access to this account. So that's a good way to pass on like generational wealth. Only thing with me is I like it. I like the idea. It's just I always want to make sure that I'm able to talk with any of my loved ones and kind of instill a lot of wisdom and knowledge that I've learned on financial literacy throughout my life. So when they get to this account, they can really just take advantage of it and maximize it even more than what I was doing. Like if I'm teaching my kids early about stocks, bonds, futures, Forex, and how to invest in them properly, how to find value companies or growth companies, and how to really just navigate through the market. When that account goes to them at 18 or 25, whatever the age it is that it would transfer over to them, they'll be set. They can take this money and use it to start their own business if they want to, or they can use it for school to pay their tuition. They can use it to get a car for school, pay for all their school tuition. It's so many things that you can do with them accounts. And that's pretty much all I want to say today. You know, if y'all like what I had to talk about concerning these retirement accounts, please don't hesitate to like the podcast, share it with your friends. Please help me spread the word so I can help more of our people become educated on these type of subjects. And y'all can always follow me on Facebook, Frederick L. Washington Jr. That's my entrepreneur page. And on Instagram also at official Frederick Washington Jr. And if you would like to hear more of these podcasts like this, don't hesitate to leave me a voice memo or shoot me a comment. Hey, so thank y'all for listening. If you're interested in getting started with investing, don't hesitate to reach out. But if it's concerning anything like what to invest in or picking stocks, I am not able to help with that type of information. I would always suggest you do your own due diligence on researching stocks to invest in, and also speak with a financial advisor, someone who is licensed in the profession. Thank you guys for listening. You can always check out my channel on YouTube, my podcast, or any of my social media pages. If you want to get started with your own brokerage account, you can also reach out to me.